Now we will start with the talk today. No? All right, so this is our first global gathering of friends. So I think I know many of you know me, and many of us are really old friends, and I mean old. Someone yesterday called me up, said I knew him when he was 16 years old, and now he's 60. And I say I'm 71. So the time really flies. No? And also CKE, our sponsor today, our organizer, also has grown so much. No? And those days when I was working, I loved Sutta from the start for a simple reason that where do we get the authentic teachings of the Buddha, right? So this is the starting of why study suttas. I mean, if we do not have the suttas, we do not know what's right, what's wrong in the Buddha's teaching. What did he actually teach us? Anyone can say anything, and in the end we get totally confused. Right? It's like a marketplace, you know. In a sense, that's what's happening today in the so-called in the Buddhist world, if you like. A lot of people say a lot of things. You just go into any internet, you find before long, you might be arguing with someone because they have a very strong view about something. This is where the suttas will give us a very good fix, a very good anchor to, know what did the Buddha really teach us, what is the meaning of this text, what is the purpose of this text. Now, what's the interesting thing about the Buddhist suttas, the Buddhist scripture, if you like, they are not like the holy books of other religions. You know, other religions, you follow it, you swear by it, you believe it. Now, the thing about Buddhist scripture, or we call it the Pali Canon in this case, the earliest text, we don't just believe it, it's not enough. In fact, there's nothing to believe in the Buddhist text. The first thing we must remember, the Buddhist texts are not like newspapers, right? I often say this, I often stress this, because people like to say, oh, I've studied this sutta before, I don't want to go for this talk. No, that's a very wrong attitude, I must stress at the start. Suttas are like classical music. You keep on listening, you enjoy this piece of music, play it differently each time. And as we grow older, I started first sutta, let's say 50 years ago. And every now and then I will do the sutta again. And when I do the translation sutta, you will notice at the very last page, there is a series of computed dates. And you'll find sometimes there are more than a dozen of those dates. The year, 2 numbers, and the month, 2 more digits, and then the day, 2 more digits. Those digits show you how often I've updated them. Actually, I've updated them many times, but those are the latest dates. So my point is, as a translator, I have to read the suttas again and again. And sometimes the suttas have got very deep, very difficult points. I don't understand them. And that the fun part is, or should I say the sad part is, I almost cannot find any monk in the world to ask, how do you interpret this? Perhaps 1 or 2 really good monks. I say good monks because they will reply my letter, because monks can be very busy and they're not likely to reply when you ask a difficult question, you see. But I'm fortunate that there are certain monks I keep in store, like my advisor. Of course, I don't always ask them, then they get annoyed, with occasionally when there are difficult questions, we ask them, and they've been very helpful. And you see me mention their name at the bottom of the notes also. So in other words, the suttas that we are doing gives us not only what is called a grounded tradition, what did the Buddha teach, but also the present practice, how it is practiced. So now we come to this point where I mention again, the Buddhist scripture is very unlike the holy scriptures of other religion. Our suttas, they are like a guidebook. They tell us what to do. When we look at Buddhism, we often hear the experienced teachers will tell us the suttas, or rather the Buddha's teaching, Buddha Dhamma, is like a path, magga. Path means what? You have to travel on it. You have to walk on it. The path also means it's a training, the threefold training, sila, samadhi, panya. You can see these three wonderful words in your own logo, in the Sekhyang logo, which we all kind of revised those days when I was there. It's a we love that logo, you know. So sila, of course, is you train our body first to calm our body and speech. We respect our body and speech. We want our body to be healthy because it is a vehicle of awakening. We awaken with this body. I'm working on the new paper now. It's something like a comparative study of Buddhist psychology and Western psychology and meditation. We talk about, in Buddhism, there is no difference between, we don't divide body and mind. Not like what is called the Cartesian dichotomy. Descartes is the French philosopher. He is said to be the father of Western philosophy. He thought that there are two things. We are made up of mind, we are made up of body. Of course, we can speak of ourselves as, made up of mind and body. But that's only in theory, by way of speaking. In reality, they are not separate. Because our mind, our body work together. Right? This is what the suttas tell us. So we speak of what is called the conscious body. The conscious body. Savinyanaka kaya. Okay? So I'm working on this. Okay, to explain what's the meaning of all this. Okay? So when you talk about the precepts, we are working with this conscious body as to remove any distraction, to calm the mind, so that when the mind is settled, then we build up the next training, mental training, right? Training of the mind. The mind is distracted by the body. That's why we need to keep precepts, Okay. Right, so the mind is distracted by the body. This body comprising the 5 physical senses. We have to attend to seeing, hearing, tasting, and so on, right? So this distracts our mind in 5 ways at least. And when you start thinking, the 6th way we're distracted. So the precepts help us to compose ourselves. And then when we sit in meditation, we close our eyes, we sit very still. When we close our eyes, we cut down seeing, right? We don't worry about listening. We sit very still, the body door is closed, and so on. Then when we're very calm, we deal with the mind. Okay, so that's called mental training. And then from there, we begin to see more clearly what really is going on in our mind and our body. In simple terms, we see impermanence, right? So the sutta tell us how to do this. That is why the suttas are very important. All right? Of course, some people say, the Buddha didn't record anything. He just spoke for 45 years, but he didn't write anything. Everything was remembered by the monks, and then they recited it through the oral tradition, right? And then after that, it was handed down, right? Could there be errors and so on, right? Well, the oral tradition is such that it is very exact, okay? Oral tradition is very clear. So there's no worry that, it's like a song basically, all right? So when you sing a song, the lyrics must be correct. So chanting also is like that. So Pali is chanted. That's how they protect the integrity, the authenticity of the sutta. So we know this teaching is authentic in that way. But what's even more interesting than that is that the suttas are not just something preserving words and teachings. You and I are the ones who authenticate the suttas by our practice. When you close your eyes, you feel stillness inside you. you are authenticating the suttas. You know the teachings work. You feel it inside you. That's the real sutta, so to speak. So you have the theory, you have the practice. All right? So that's why we study suttas, to put it very simply. No? Now the next thing is the purpose. What is this purpose we have of being a Buddhist, right? Of course, Buddhist, is such a big term nowadays. It can mean anything to anyone. But for us, we say a Buddhist is someone who follows the teaching of the Buddha, who keeps the Buddha. Okay, we just follow one Buddha, just the historical Buddha. Okay, and that's good enough. In this series of talks, I'm going to continue and tell you what are the basic suttas that we should learn, where the Buddha tells us what are the how to prepare ourselves properly to get the full taste of this teaching has left us. My firm belief, after so many years with Buddhism, especially since I came to Singapore in 2002, is that we can reach the path in this life itself. Now, we come to a very interesting problem here. Tomorrow is Sunday, you go to any temple, there are no talks nowadays, it is COVID time, but if there are Sunday talks, if you ask the speaker, they probably, whether it's a monk or layman, they probably will tell you, oh no, we're not sure whether we can attain awakening in this life or not. Nobody is sure. Definitely not become an arahat, they will tell you. Now, even if you can't become an arahat, you can still reach the path as stream winners. And this is very important to know. Otherwise, as Buddhists, we have no goal. It seems that as Buddhists, we are the only ones who, among the religions, who seem not to have a goal in our life. You go to any other major followers of any major religion, they'll tell you, okay, yes, this is my goal, to go to heaven or whatever. But in Buddhism, we don't seem to have that idea. So this is when I came to Singapore in the year 2002, I was looking to the suttas and I was listening to other monks talking, especially my brother monks when I was a monk, like Bante Dhammavudo and Bante Agachito. We share a lot of common ideas. We're all Malaysian monks then. So our firm commitment is that we should at least attain stream winning in this life, and we can. And this is confirmed by our discovery of a very special sutta. This is where I come to the sutta for today. And that is, remember this number, S25.1. S25.1. That is Sangyutta, chapter 25, Sutta 1. This sutta, in fact, is with you, or you should, if you don't have the sutta, it's okay, just listen. Now, I don't know whether you can see this or not, but I have this text here with me. Okay, it's called the Anicca Cakkhu Sutta. So this is what I want to tell you. I have translated this with notes. It's about 30 over pages here. And you can see the title here. There's a bracket Anicca. The original title is simply Cakkhu Sutta. Yeah? Now, Anicca is put in the front because it individualizes or disambiguates the sutta. Originally, the sutta is simply Cakkhu Sutta and the mini Cakkhu Sutta, right? Very often when someone, yes, that's the diagram. Nah? Sometimes people go for Dhamma talks, they hear a monk mentioning a sutta, they say, oh, I want to know where is the sutta, and then they come to me and ask, do you know what sutta is? So I say, okay, can you give me details? They don't know details. So it is very important for you, make it a habit, to remember either the title of the sutta, in this case, Anicca Cakkhu Sutta, the impermanent I discourse. Okay, Anicca is of course impermanent, Cakkhu is I, Sutta is discourse. So one way is remember the title, preferably in Pali, if not in English. The next thing is try to remember the number, either one. Okay, the number usually is more helpful because we can locate it. All right, with bhikshus, the I is impermanent, changing, becoming, otherwise. Okay, notice this is the first line, right? Watch the first line, the key line. It's about the I. This is where the sutta name comes from. Cakkhu, the I. I've underlined it for you. Okay. Again, this underlining is the Sutta Discovery Convention. It's not found in the Pali text. Now, when you look at the first line, you see the others say, oh, this the I. So this set must be the what's called the Salayatana set, the sense basis set. So you have eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. These are the 6 senses. The eye is impermanent, changing, becoming, otherwise. The ear is impermanent, changing, becoming, otherwise. The nose is impermanent, changing, becoming, otherwise. And it goes on like that. Same words, exactly same word for the tongue, body, the mind. Now, if you only think of the reading tradition, you say, oh dear, look at all this repetition. It's boring, we say. And that's the end of your sutta career, your sutta practice. But that's not the case here. There is a very good and important reason why the suttas repeat themselves. Remember, I told you this is not a newspaper. This is a guide, a manual for reaching the path, for awakening. These passages, this particular passage, just these 2, 4, 6 lines is a reflection for you. This is where the awakening lies if you practice this properly. Now you can easily memorize this. After this talk, you probably more or less know this is the heart of this sutta. So it's not in the words here. We are made up of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. This is what the sutta says, right? So now how do we practice this in our daily life? We see things. That's the first one, the eye. Now our eye is impermanent. You know, my eyes have grown old and under treatment by specialists in the National University Hospital. I put eye drops every day. It's not as good as before. I had to go for cataract operation. I'm wearing 3 pairs of glasses. The eye is impermanent. Nothing to be said about. That's the way things are. It's a package deal. That's the nature of the body. So we work with it. We know there is a time limit, there's a shelf life. We work with that. Then what we see also changes. We look around, everything changes, right? So we reflect like that. We go on reflecting in a natural way. So one benefit is we don't get upset, we don't get angry, there's no fear, because this is the true nature of life. Next one, the ear is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. Same thing with sounds. All right? I have a neighbor here, the daughter is only 6 years old, she's born with hearing problem. She went for a specialist checkup. Nothing physically wrong with her. How to explain all this? Right? So the ear also changes. The sounds that you hear, the sound is change. Now this is where we come into a very important universal truth. The meaning of life is change. Because without change, life is meaningless. You won't know what's going on. The voice you hear now is recorded in the computer. The picture of me you see recorded by pixels. Everything is changing. And that's how you know what is going on, right? So that's the meaning of change. This is the philosophical aspect, of course. Okay? The nose is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. You reflect, same thing with smell. Okay? We don't worry about good smell, bad smell, whatever. We just say smell. It comes, it goes. Impermanent. Then the tongue is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. So here taste, of course. You notice when you take food, and you know Malacca is really famous for food. When we all left Malacca for Singapore, you know we miss most is the food. So when you take, there are different bowls of nice dishes. You know which one to take first, which one to take next, right? So, for example, you take something sweet first, and then you take something else you find it's not so sweet, right? So the tongue also changes in taste. So you reflect impermanent, so you don't get upset, right? With the food, you say, oh, this person has taken so much trouble to prepare all this, right? You know, you have seen monks, really good monks, eating, right? The forest monks, they use their bowl and they collect food. People give all kinds of things. Everything is put in one bowl. Someone gives rice, somebody gives a bit of curry, someone gives a bit of soup. They put everything in. Someone gives a cake, they put it in there also. Someone gives ice cream, they put in there also. All different things are put together in the same bowl. And you know what this forest monk does? He will mix everything up, okay? Everything is mixed up, and without choosing what to eat. He doesn't say, oh, I'm going to eat this first, and you know, when the Babas of Malacca eat, they say, okay, take rice, add this, add that, right? Not the forest monk. He'll mix everything up, and he'll take it, and then just eat it like that, right? And that's the taste. The monk puts it in the mouth, feel it, chew it, and swallow it. So they eat to reach the path, not to fatten themselves, not to beautify themselves, and so on. Right? So this is their reflection. The body is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. So our body also change. Right? You have seen some photos of me 50 years ago, and you look now, wow, very different. Many of us, even here now, we are much older. Our body is changed. The mind is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The mind is the fastest changing, what you call phenomena. Yeah? So the mind is changing all the time. Experiences are changing all the time. So there you are. These are the 6 kinds of reflection we do daily, moment to moment also. This is the key passage in starting us to practice our impermanence. And what is the benefit? Now look at the next line, section 4. Bhikshus, one who has faith thus. So I've underlined for you faith. No? In the Pali text you don't see all this, it's just one big chunk of words. Bhikshus, one who has faith, who firmly believes these truths, or, okay, you see square brackets, right? Square bracket means alternate translation. If you find difficult to understand the first part, you can read the one in square brackets. It gives more or less the same meaning or an alternate meaning that will help you understand better. So you can also say, is convinced of this truth. He is called a faith follower. All right? Okay, so in other words here, even if you just have faith, you say, oh, I don't want to study Sutta, too deep for me. I'm happy enough to just believe. I have faith that everything is impermanent. That is acceptable. This is very interesting. Right? You can say, I just have faith. But we can't do that. Let's say in other religions, you must have faith in God and so on. It's a bit difficult there because, you know, you have to prove whether they exist or not. And then people argue, you know, and so on. Up to today, no one has agreed, or no one has come to a common agreement that these are the exact correct arguments, right? But whereas impermanence, it is self-evident. It's all around us. So the Buddha says, you even by faith, if you accept this, it will work for you. You have faith, then you practice the reflection on impermanent. The benefit of this, section 4.2. Now I have used the point number because I didn't want to change number 4. Number 4 is found in the Pali text also. So I want to make easier reference, so I put the next important point as 4.2. He has gone beyond the plane of the worldlings. That means this person, the stream winner, is normal and ordinary worldly person. You are normal in samsara of the normal sense, right? You will not suffer like others because you are wiser, right? You are reaching the path of the noble ones. Then he is descending into the plane of the true individuals. Now notice the word here is descending in Pali, okanti. Yeah? Because the parable here is that of a boat. A boat is on the riverside and we will go down into the boat. Right? And this boat is going to sail upstream towards nirvana. That's why this okanti, going down to the boat. That means reaching the path of stream winning. The plane of true individuals. True individual here is a broad name for those on the path of awakening, the Sapurisa, okay? Those who have reached the path, starting with streamliness. Descending into the certainty of rightness. Okay, look at the word rightness. When you see rightness here, it refers to the Eightfold Path. Remember Eightfold Path? Made up of what? Right speech, right action, right livelihood, and so on. So it's called Path of Rightness. This is another name for the Eightfold Path. Descending into the certainty of rightness. You are sure to reach the path if you practice, if you reflect on impermanence. Then, just 3 more lines. No? He is incapable of doing any intentional deeds by which he might be reborn in hell or in the animal birth or in the preta realm. So in other words, we will never break precepts which will make us fall below the human plane, the human level. Now this brings us a very important understanding of the nature of precepts, why we keep precepts. The 5 precepts are what are called quality control for us so that we remain at least on the human level. Now you and I, we are born humans, right? Our karma give us this human birth with human parents. But if this child, newborn child, is taken away by wolves, this baby become a wolf. And when this child grows up and he is caught by human beings, let's say he's already a teenager by then, say 14 years old, it's impossible to change him back into human. So we are born human, but we are not human yet. Our parents spend time with us, loving us, hugging us, teaching us. This is called humanizing. Humanize us, right? So the precepts keep us on the human level, not to fall below the human state. Below human state will be the pretas, addictive people, the asuras, very fierce demons, very exploitative people, and then the hell beings, very violent, animals full of ignorance. Right? That's the subhuman planes. So if you reflect on impermanence, you keep the precepts, you are safe. You'll never fall below this plane. And then number 4, this is the last of the important benefits. He is incapable of dying without having attained the fruit of stream winning. There you are. This is what convinced me, this last line. I've underlined the whole sentence. Because when I read the first part, I was very impressed. I said, oh, this is wonderful. This is what I've been looking for. The Buddha tells us that by reflecting on impermanence, we will attain stream winning in this life. Whether you're a monk or layman, you will attain this path of awakening. And once you're a stream winner, within 7 lives at the most, you are sure to attain awakening. All right. So here the Buddha says, if you reflect on impermanence, you will definitely attain stream winning in this life, if not definitely at the moment of passing away. As you know, the moment of passing away, we have no control, right? So if you reflect on impermanence habitually, that's your habitual karma. So this is the karma that will come back and take over when you're passing away. And this will bring you across next life into stream winning. So this is the very beautiful line, right? Okay, so this paragraph with the heading Faith Follower, in other words, section 4, is about having faith. You can just have faith and you can gain the path. The next section just repeats itself. This is about the truth follower. Everything is the same here, so don't have to read it for you. It's exactly the same as the previous paragraph, but the name changed to truth follower. Truth follower is the intellectual person, wisdom-based person. This person say, oh, I want to learn things, I want to know things, I want to ask questions. How true is this? Where in the sutta is this taught, right? But there's some lines which are different. Let me read that to you. Look at section 5, Bhikshus, one who accepts this truth after just some pondering over them with wisdom. Thus, he is called a truth follower. Right? So he uses wisdom, questions, and so on. That's the difference. So this second person, he uses wisdom, study the sutta, think about it, right? But he still reflects on impermanence. We attain the path in this life itself in the same way. All right. Then finally, the sutta closes with 2 more lines. The Buddha defines who a stream winner is. One who knows and sees this truth thus, is called a stream winner. Right? So this is the person who's already attained the level, no longer bound for the lower world, surely going over to self-awakening. It's already on the path to awakening. All right. So this is the key sutta, which changes the game, we say. So it is not helpful to say, oh, we cannot be enlightened in this life anymore. We cannot awaken in this life. We cannot become arahat. Not true. Right? Even if we cannot become arahat, we can still become stream winners. Okay? Because if we don't have this assurance, what happens? This is Buddha Dhamma. When you don't have this assurance, then you end up with Buddhism, one of the isms. Then you start doing rituals, right? So if you are caught up with rituals, you never attain stream winning. Rituals means you think that by performing a certain routine over and over, something good will happen to you, right? Another time I'll go into detail here. I'll just give one example here. For example, we talk about transfer of marriage. We do that often, especially when someone passes away, right? Number one, the wording is totally wrong. Marriage cannot be transferred. It's not a thing, right? So I often stress this. I want to stress again. We dedicate marriage, all right? For the simple reason, marriage is inside us. We use loving kindness, then we think about the goodness of this person who has passed away, then we kind of think happy thoughts of loving kindness. We say, may this person be well and happy. That is loving kindness. Right? You read the Tirokuta Sutta about dedicating marriage to pretas. That's how we do it. Earlier, I already told a few of you, we can't really pray for the dead because the dead are already gone. There's no dead. They're all reborn. Right? So don't worry too much about praying for the dead. You can do it on your own, especially on your own, because your loved ones would really be happy if you do all these special recollection of them by yourself who are their loved ones. We do this with loving kindness. Right? So we think of them, we send our thoughts to them. We dedicate merits to them. That's how we do it. Okay, we don't need to perform other rituals in that sense. And they only need this special prayer if they are pretas. That's only one realm. Otherwise, let's say our parents have passed away, they're already reborn as human beings elsewhere. They're babies right now, they're reborn, right? We just want them to be well and happy, right? So this is where studying the suttas help us to put all our understanding and practice in focus. So the suttas give us that kind of direction and help us to stay on the right course in this way. So there you are. This is the Anicca Cakkhu Sutta. Keep it in mind, read it again and reflect on it. And then you look at the notes if you like, and then cross-refer for further information. There's lots of notes there. Don't worry about reading everything. Just read what you need to, what you can start there. Remember, this book is a lifelong book to read. Right? I've been reading this for many, many times. I've lost count how many times I read this. Each time I have a deeper understanding. All right. Now, one more point. Now, if you look at the last page, 78, there's a bibliography there. Now, what has happened now is I have stopped doing the bibliography like this because it takes out a lot of pages. So I put all this bibliography into one volume. It is called the Sutta Discovery, a Sutta Discovery Guide, SD01. Okay, 0 means it is beyond 1. So this is a special volume. SD Guide is available online, or you can message me through Facebook Messenger or Telegram. I will send you the latest copy. Why is this SD guide important? This SD guide is quite thick, by the way. It's about 70 pages. Now you don't need to read. You don't read through them because most of the 70 pages are bibliography. Now bibliography are very useful, especially for people doing researchers or you want to do reading, right? But the front part of this SD guide is very important. It explains to you all the short forms I use in this sutta. For example, I use certain symbols, like a mosquito symbol, a wriggly symbol. What does it mean? Okay, you look up there, I will explain to you. All right. So that's the SD guide. So this is the Sutta Discovery, which was started around 2001 or 2002, and it has been going on all this time until today. So about nearly 20 years now. So we have written. Just now with the camera in my study work, I would have shown you the whole shelf of the about 70 volumes, over nearly 19 years, about more than 10,000 pages. So can you imagine so many pages, how to locate the teaching? So this is where we don't only need to, like proofread and edict all these suttas. I've also been compiling a few dictionaries to help use this text. So this is where Brother Chan, that PowerPoint I sent you. Can you display it? The DEB and so on. So anyway, there is this PowerPoint display where there are lists of dictionaries being prepared. The first one is called DEB, or I call it DEBI. DEB means Dictionary of Early Buddhism. This one is the most important of the dictionaries, where I list all the key ideas. It's like a Dhamma dictionary. I list all the topics, for example, rebirth, and then is rebirth immediate or not, where to locate all these, which volume, which page, which paragraph, right? Then there's another dictionary, is called DEBN, Dictionary of Buddhist Names. So these are names of like famous teachers, famous monks, arahats, and so on. Okay, it's like the Dictionary of Pali proper name. then there's one more DEBS, that is Dictionary of Suttas. So this one they are listed by name, sutta name. And then the last one is Dictionary of Numbers. There you are. You can see the last one, Dictionary of Numbers. Okay, because Buddhist teaching are full of numbered teachings. 1 of these, 2 of that, 3 of this, 4 of that, 5, 6 until 11, and sometimes more than that. So all these the teachings are listed under numbers. So this one takes a lot of work and a lot of time. So what I've done is I've learned that impermanence is to our benefit actually. So 20 years ago I never thought, okay, here I am, I'm going to complete 70 volumes with 10,000 pages. If I thought like that, I'll never work. I'll be very terrified. All right, I just do what comes bit by bit, one by one volume, right? So I started with the Dictionary of Early Buddhism first. So this has been going on for like 10 years. So imagine after 10 years, it's quite a lot of things are collected, because this is what I need when I do research, when I do my study, I want to look up. So I put this incomplete dictionary online also, and anyone wants this, I also can send to you up to what I have done now. Okay, so we're building this up. Now why I mention all this is because sooner or later we need people to help these people who have the ability, interest to do indexing, and that will help a lot, right? So this is where keeping in touch with Malacca again is very good, because I feel we have quite a pool of people who are really interested in suttas, and with whom I can have meaningful dialogue over what can be done further with this wonderful collection of teachings we have. Because remember, the sutta teaching that I've been doing started in Malacca some 50 years ago, and today this cycle joins back, it's complete, and I'm very happy to see this. So I have to thank Brother Baba Chan for taking this initiative to reconnect, to get us together to do this Dhamma work, the sutta work. So this will help us to improve this collection of very important documents and teachings that we have today. Okay, so I'll end my talk here. Let's see.